Welcome to Chatpot. I'm Zanzi. Good conversation, perspective, your perception. We talk everything from relationships and more. We talk to your heart, we educate and inspire.
Hello Mzansi, welcome to Chatpot Mzansi with me Matshidiso and my co-host Cynthia. It's good to have you back with us for yet another episode of Chatpot Mzansi. Welcome.
Hi Mzansi. Hello. Hope you've been good. How have you been, my friend?
I've been good.
Yeah,
Can't complain.
It's been very, very comforting to know. Today we are coming here. You know, we always bring exciting conversations, meaningful conversations, and we hope today, again, we can yet touch another life, another, just connect to somebody sitting right there at the couch, listening to us. At Matsidi, so it's really sad, in the sense that the world that we're living in, it has come to a point where if you're different, you are not like everybody else. Yet everybody have witnessed or rather came across an article. A guy was Transnet. We don't know the intention, but unfortunately the deliverance was somehow quite disturbing. We read how he made mockery of a child who was disabled. Yes. What do you think about disability, Matsidi? So do you perhaps know anyone all in disabled?
Yeah, I mean, I do have family members that are disabled. It is a condition, and we are not supposed to, it's not something to make fun of because, I mean, as a mother, for instance, we are mothers. When you're carrying a child, you're always hoping that I'm going to deliver a healthy baby. So it's something very sensitive, and I feel like it was so irresponsible of that guy to post that. And it also goes back to us as content creators, the responsibility that we have, and also not taking content creation too far. I think he took it too far.
Yeah, no, Mzansi, so this is what we're talking about today. We're talking about disability. Remember, disability, it's very broad. It's not just the physical appearance, it's also a mental state as well. It could be an emotional state. I mean, you could only see a person who is disabled maybe by hearing them talk. Then you can actually pick up where this person is lacking 1, 2, 3. You could sometimes see how they walk, you see how they talk. I mean, myself also, TD, my brother has 2 disabled kids. My uncle is disabled. And then my second cousin is disabled. So I come from that environment where it's very normal for us. We don't see something to be shameful about. If we feel like this is how we are, it's very normal to us. But having to see somebody making it feel different, it makes me feel different. From where I come from, we are different, So it's a really concerning situation that I feel as parents, it's something that we have to talk about. You are a mother, I'm a mother, could be pregnant tomorrow, you could be pregnant tomorrow, anyone that we know. And having the perception or being disabled, it's being different, and therefore you fit in some sort of a different circle or society. It's really something that South Africa, we really need to educate each other on.
Yeah, so it's very important for us to educate each other and also teach our kids from a very young age to that they need to embrace differences. You know, they must not discriminate or treat people with disability or kids that are different from them in a different way. They should know that these are human beings like them. It's just that they are differently abled, and there are things that they can do, and there are things that they cannot do. And I mean, depending on the disability, there are people that need a different type of care and attention.
Yeah.
You understand? And also assistance. So, it was really heartbreaking to see that that guy
a very adult
an adult, yes, making a mockery out of a child. Like, I did not get, like you said, we do not know what his intention is, but what I heard recently is that Transnet has written an apology to the family, but the family is like, we need an apology from the guy.
From him,
So also, I mean, content creation, yes, we are content creators. As in, guys, content is osbulala.
Abantu bazibulala, let's not blame it on content.
Yeah. But also it's because maybe Nakongwe, I'm so used to just taking my camera and doing whatever, or I've gotten away with a lot of because when you follow the guy, you can see, okay, it's his thing, but maybe I've gotten away with a lot in the past, and now, or maybe I don't know what to post, and I'm desperate for content creation to stay relevant, and I just pick up whatever, and I find myself in trouble. So I think as it also goes to us as content creators, that we have the responsibility as content creators, because remember, we have kids who are consuming our content. We have people who are living with disability, also who are consumers of our of our content. So we need to be responsible, because when you are given such a platform, I feel like we can only use it in a positive way to empower people, to laugh at ourselves, to to entertain and to educate. So we have that responsibility. And I mean, where do we draw the line, Cynthia? Where do we draw the line as content creators?
Yeah, I think in defining where we draw the line, Tsidi, I would think we need to take it back in terms of educating. Who should really understand the nature of disability? Is it the mother? Is it the father? Is it the family that lives with the person who is disabled? Is it the society or anyone that interacts? Where does the nature of education start? If I were to be found out taking pregnant or disabled, I know that certain hospitals would pick this up, address it with the mother. Some are okay with it, some are not okay, but with them not being okay, it's because they don't understand. So I think we need to first establish who should be educated got disability, and then we can then just break it down in terms of also carrying responsibility. Is it my child who is disabled? If it's not, why do I care? I would rather have my child as kadlala disabled, because my child will not understand. Do I not want my child to understand and just stay away from such situation, or do I want to be involved? Do I want to extend the involvement also the family nyaka, even though disabled? Where do we take that education, friend? Let's just establish that first. Okay, how do we educate each other about disability?
Okay, if I have, for instance, I have a child who is disabled. I feel like, Lina, as a parent, it is my responsibility. The way I treat my child will also reflect on the way other people treat him or her. So it also depends on what type of foundation do I give my child, because as a mother, you need to affirm your child, and you need to tell them that they are great, they are able to do this. And also, disabled, and not wanting him or her to interact with people, because they need to go to the community and also engage in activities, and it's really sad, Chomi, because you see with a lot of when you walk into a building as a person who is not disabled, you know, you don't see the challenges that the person who's disabled goes through.
Yeah.
I mean, you find a place where there is no ramps, there is no, like, places like malls are not disability friendly, or places where they need to access but they are not
No
disability
restaurant.
friendly. So I think it as a community, as a whole, need to be educated, from adult to kids, everybody.
Yeah.
So I feel like the responsibility arena as a whole, the entire community.
You know, I think, Tsidi, everybody that lives in South Africa, you know, I always refer to this quote from the late Nelson Mandela, where South Africa belongs to everybody who lives in it. And that does not come with definition of who you are and how you are, you know. And the recognition of disabilities should not only end when we have certain dates where, but it's at that awareness that only lasts for that day. Funny enough, especially when it comes to also from a corporate point of view, you'd find where companies, in order for them to gain a level status as a BEE, they need to hire the disabled. And then you'd find where out of batho ba 50 ba sebetsang ko company, only 2 people, because as per the requirement of BEE, they will just hire 2 people.
Yeah.
If there's more people being disabled with qualifications who can actually physically be able to perform the work, habano ba here because of their capacity, but only for the compliance of a set, just for the benefit of something. This is where we throw in disability.
Yeah.
You know, in schools, for instance, why is it that only kids that live with or affected or who are disabled are the ones that have disabilities? Why isn't a space, especially, I think you and I, Hanere Thoma, we said that different types of disabilities. There are people who can learn
in a normal school.
In a normal school.
Yes.
But we hardly find such demographics. You know, you'd find the management positions, only people some sort of a little disadvantage. It's still not fair. But just the little disadvantage is people who were normal and then by the accident wheelchairing, then they can still continue with their lives.
Yeah.
But there are people who are naturally physically born with visible and physical disability. Yeah, Tsidi, I think we have to really be emotionally invested, you know, into this. I don't even want to define it as a situation because it's not even a fair word to use. You would find hore, I would rather have my child as kadlalale moto disabled instead of me having to teach them how it's normal. You know, sometimes just even overlook it.
Yeah.
You know, I know myself that I've been in situations where it's the last thing even on my mind or the last thing that I notice. And maybe it's because I've lived with it. I've experienced firsthand but being disabled to a point where to have to witness my brother's daughter from birth up to a year and a couple of months. And so I was very, very emotionally attached in terms of having to understand what already she's going through, and for her to grow up to know society deems her or sees her different. It's really not fair. I think we need to be in a point where South Africa, we educate each other before we even pass it on to our kids, because I think we first need to really understand. We really need to educate each other. We really need to think of the mothers raising banabadi disabled. What does it do to them mentally? Are you prepared? Or different, and this is how you're going to help your child. Or I feel included in society. This is how you're going to help the society to be able to be receptive of your child's nature. I think we especially mothers, I don't want to take this conversation and just only solely focus on mothers, but also to be very factual. I think mothers are the ones that really have to deal physically, directly have to deal with the nature of their children being disabled.
That's true. I think we need to build. I liked what you're saying. If we become emotionally invested and not pick days or when it suits us, to even go and support organizations that care for people with disability. So I think we need to be emotionally invested and also financially invested as well, whether it's business, whether it's the government. And wait again, we need to leave this attitude, because I feel like we are very ignorant as a society sometimes. Because sometimes kids, like you said, there's different disabilities. I mean, other kids are able to go to a normal school, but because of infrastructure, because of resources to support the child, we are unable to integrate them into normal schools. So I think it is the responsibility of society as a whole, government, NPOs, us as a community, and also we should stop being ignorant, Waiban, and whatever it is that we do, we need to consider the fact that there are people who are living with disabilities amongst us, and we need to ensure that they are comfortable. We need to ensure that they are included, whether it's at a workspace, in church, in healthcare systems, in wherever in society, and also ensure they can live up to their full potential, and also as a society or as a family, not be ashamed of our child, and also say, yes, you are differently abled, but we can motivate you to, if your child loves sports, let's see how you can do that. If your child likes singing, let's see how we can do that. Also support our kids in that way. Now, you know, people with disabilities are an afterthought, like, by the way, you know.
You know, I think that, funny enough, disabled people are more included in churches than any other place. You know, I know that the government is trying, but of course, speaking from a civilian point of view, we know from what we see, we just feel, and based on Transnet's very kind defense to this guy that did all this messy thing, I feel that with government, the sentiment is different. You know, the sentiment it's based on the benefit of the organization, you know, the government body, whatever that may be. The fact that like, I don't want this to be received as being controversial or trying to attack or clap back at Transnet. I mean, we really appreciate what they tried to do. It was very human of them. But I felt that apology came out too quickly, take themselves out of the situation, you know, because this guy had already been identified Transnet. So I feel that we really need to start taking accountability as South Africans. We need to really, when we say we love, it needs to be intentional. You know, you cannot say that you love, go in a public eye, and then on the side you are a totally different person. You know, we need to stop with this thing of only acknowledging and seeing disabled people during the rallies, Mandela Day, during the festivities where solely they are designed or arranged for what about disabled then people. I remember when at my company we did Mandela Day last year, there were some government officials. Okay, we went there, we cooked, and somebody came at the Neskipa sa government thing. They came actually, like, they literally picked a spoon from a table and started stirring somebody else's pot, and somebody was taking pictures, and then after the pictures, they put the spoon down and they went to another pot. This is what this has come to be.
Yeah, is it a publicity stunt
For
all
sure,
the time?
100%.
They must see me. I was at this organization supporting people with disability.
Yeah.
But really, are we really invested?
Yeah.
And do we really take time to understand the challenges that people with disabilities live with, or even the caretakers? I remember when we were there, because I was with you, and some of the employees were like, we've been here and we haven't gotten paid in like 3 months or 4 months.
Yeah.
How do we support people who are really going out of their way to take care of people with disability? So it was really kind of sad, basically, to watch that, because that's why I'm saying that, Lohana, why should there be policies that compel people to do the right thing? Because humanity is free, and nobody should force you to do it. And why should we? Because when you think about it, if these policies did not exist, you need to ask ourselves honestly, were organizations, were they going to by themselves, say we include people with disability, we hire people with disability, we ensure that infrastructure and our environment is disability friendly? Or is it just a thing because policy says so, we must, because we benefit in this way, we must? Why should it be that way?
This is, unfortunately, Mzansi, this is what South Africa seems to have come to. We don't know. What do you think? Unfortunately, Tsidi, it would have been nice if maybe we had an aspect into the studio. Maybe one of you, South Africa at home, let's ba motho a tsebang habetere with disabilities. Maybe you are disabled. Maybe you have a child that is disabled. Because I feel that our perspective is that South Africa has come to a point where if we don't benefit, if something doesn't benefit us, then it's something, it's not worth our time. If I, as a 40-something-year-old, I can go on camera, ke phone ya ka shoot content making a mockery of ngwana a dutseng sofeng a leng disabled, and feel good about myself. And somebody that views and likes my status, I feel good about myself. What does that say about me as a Black South African? It's a real pity, Tsidi, that once motswadi a qala aba pregnant and they find out they are carrying one out disabled, they don't even see the prospects of that child becoming something popular, because of this is what society has deemed but disabled to be. They're just going to be moralo.
Yeah.
We have brothers and sisters who are very, very, very able, who are very, very intelligent, who are very, very, very normal. And yet, they're raping, they're abusing, they're doing all this sort of things. I don't even remember this is from a personal perspective. I'm not saying it's factual. Maybe somebody can come in and rectify me. But I would be sure in terms of from a statistic point of view, how to work a rape, crime, all this sort of nasty things that are happening in our communities. If you were to check who does those things, I'm sure a very large number, it will be normal people.
That's true.
Mzansi, this is something that we need to ask ourselves. Do I deem myself normally because I've got 10 fingers, because I've got 2 legs, and somebody it's somebody that is really can't do anything for themselves. They can't think for themselves. You know, this is something that we need to go back and ask ourselves, is this the society? Is this the South Africa that we want our children to grow into? Do we want to have a high volume of parents where it's the abortions after finding out the nature of their children's health? Do we want to be those kids battling because they feel that they're different? The society is making them different. The only thing that they can be grateful for, they get a special grant. I mean, is it really about money? Yes, they need financial assistance. It's a lot of work taking care of, especially there are certain types of disabilities that constantly needs to be, and all of that, which is money. Yes, of course, I agree. But can we put money and walk away and say, at least we're doing something for the disabled community?
That's true. I mean, when you look at it, just like the situation that we have described now, that it's like it's an afterthought, just because whether you are not affected or maybe you don't know anybody in your family who's disabled, it's like it's an afterthought. We don't even think about it, We don't think about the fact that how do we make life easier for people who are differently abled. And also as a child who is growing up disabled, maybe I cannot see, I'm blind. If my family is not invested in me to take me to a school where I can read Braille and be able to educate myself and become something. So it's really important, Mzansi. This is a very important conversation. So we would like to hear from you. Do not forget to subscribe and like or comment.
One thing that I need us to also take into consideration, Sidi, it's the mental well-being of Batuba Udisang or about the caretakers. You touched on when we went to that event, sponsor that disabled, or the caretakers were complaining or they're not taken care of from a monetary point. It wasn't really a complaint, but it was since you are here to help, but also look at us in this, because of course they've got families to feed. But I want us to also Mzansi consider, or rather just get an understanding, the people, the mothers, bonghono. I know there are also fathers who are involved in their children's life, but in disabled. I know that we're not in a position to answer this, but from Motswadi physically or disabled, do you think that they somehow need some sort of a support? It's either post what about the grandmothers disabled? Do we need to have such spaces where they can go and get support and learn and just try to have them, to understand the challenges that they go through as well?
Yeah, I think those are people who play a very important role in our lives, and also making life easier for those kids or people. There's even adults who are disabled. So it was really heartbreaking to go there and find out that these people, we were there with them the whole day, cooking and cleaning up and doing all these things. We got to see what they go through in terms of feeding the kids and doing all those type of things. So we got to see it, you see. So I think they also need a lot of support. They need to be supported as much as we can, and whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally as well, because it can also be emotionally draining and mentally draining to take care of somebody who is disabled, Yeah, so it's very important for us to not only remember them on special days or do it as a media stunt, or we are being seen as organizations or even as individuals that we recognize people who are living with disabilities. On a random day, during the year or any time of the day, any time of the year where we feel like, you know what, let's go back and actually give back to people who are living with disability and actually be there physically and see what it takes to take care of a person who is living with disabilities. So for me, it's really important to look at not only the person living with disability, but also the caretakers. Because remember, it takes a lot of work to just take care of somebody who is disabled, depending on the disability. So, and these are people who are playing a very important role, because without them, I don't know what these kids would be, or these people who are living with disability would be.
Yeah, no, that's very true, Atsidi. So, Mzansi, this is where we are. It was very disturbing for us to have to read that article. I guess the energy for us to the drive for us to even come and decide, okay, we need to share this with you. We are also very directly, you know, we were very directly touched somehow, because I felt attacked, you know, as a person, you know, a person on an uncle, only disabled as well, and part of the family members but disabled. So I felt also attacked as well, and CD also shared the same sentiment, you know. So I don't know who South Africa with this issue. How do you feel about what this man decided to post? Are we overthinking? Are we overreacting? Are we taking it too deep? Okay, Mzansi, it is our perspective, but at the end of the day, your perception counts. So do you think that organizations need to start having awareness sessions with their employees? Do you have to wait for such to happen, or do we really think it's something that we need to normalize? You know, I read about team buildings, things where staff get us together. Do we need to have a session, just a regular session, where we know weekly by weekly, we sit, we talk about differences, we talk about how different we are, how we can, deal with each other, really different, how we can live with one another. But most importantly, I think the subject of the matter is disability. Because like we say, it's very dimensional, and it doesn't mean if it's about to be physically disabled, there's other disabilities that somehow I might find very easy. Maybe thing, you know, and just be surprised and not be able to deal with those certain type of disabilities. So I don't know, Tidi. I feel that we need to really get engaged. Organizations need to get engaged. Church bodies need to get engaged. You know, we've got a whole lot of platforms that this can really come out to communities, to young children, go to high schools. You know, do we have sessions where on an ordinary go LO, what do we discuss go LO? Do we only discuss our bodies? When we discuss our bodies, do we also discuss, or there are certain types of different bodies? You know, how do we spread how do we educate each other? How do we sit and try to find ways to understand this nature of humanity? We all God's people. You know, we are all built differently. How do I know my being the way that I am is better than the other person's, or the other way around? How do we include everyone in the society, accommodate everyone in the society? I don't know, Tsidi, but I just feel it's the most crucial questions that we need to ask ourselves. And we employ you at home, we employ you employees, you leaders at home, to really get involved. Let's fix our nation. Let's fix our society. Let's take care of each other. Let's be kind to one another. But most importantly, let's take care of our kids. And your kid does not mean that ke ngwana o phelang hantle, ke ngwana o leng abled. A kid ke ngwana holistically, no matter their appearance. no matter how they behave. Ngwana ke ngwana, and we need to be kind to our kids. We need to take care of our kids.
So it's very important what you've just said now, Cynthia, that we need to, with parents, and as well as, let's not forget that disability could happen to anybody. Your life could change in a blink of an eye, and life changes like that. So we also need to be mindful. And also, with kids growing up, sometimes because our kids, we do not educate them enough, and we do not understand, because they see somebody who's differently abled than them, then they can make a mockery of one's dad or mother, so it goes back to educating our kids, that we really need to have a serious and honest conversation with our kids and educate them about the fact that we are all different and we need to embrace each other's differences. And it doesn't mean we have people who are disabled and who have been able to achieve a lot of great things. And also to our kids out there who are living with disabilities, they also need to believe in themselves and know that they can achieve their dreams. Nothing is stopping you from achieving your dreams. As a young person who is disabled, who's living with disability, the sky is the limit. So it does not mean that you cannot become a presenter, you cannot become an athlete, you cannot become an actor, you cannot become whatever it is that you dream to become in society. And you are also, as a community, you are also loved, you are also included, and also let's not do it, fella, like we said, on these special occasions. It's an everyday thing. And also having sympathy and empathy and consideration, whether I'm in a bus, I'm at home, I'm at school, I'm at, let's be mindful, let's be kind, and let's consider, people with disabilities. And also, not because we are saying Khorba differently than us, so we need to treat them in a certain way. Treat them with the same respect. Yeah. But consider, whatever it is that you do, consider, let's make life easy. Let's be kind, and also understand that nobody wakes up and wants to be disabled, or it's not a nice thing, but also it's not something that can stop you from reaching your dreams.
Yeah. No, thanks for that. Sidi. I'm really glad that we feel the same. We share the sentiment of today's topic. So Mzansi, please don't forget to comment on our comment section. Tell us what you think, and I know that Sidi also touched on Batswadi as well. We know because the article came as Motomoholo that was working ngwana, but there are also Batswadi ba hodisang bana ba normal, bona ba physically disabled, so it's something that we really want to re more about. What are your challenges as motswadi? Ngwana how ya di meeting in school, they feel or their mother is, do you ever get that? Or ngwana mmone ka wa tshaba o yelena skolong, or you feel how fihla batswadi go skolong, going to a meeting, you are treated differently or even looked at differently, do you somehow feel hore when you speak to somebody go phone, and when you actually meet them, the interaction is about different because they're not expecting what they're seeing. Have you ever, been on online dating site, or meet a very, very charming guy, you get to meet them there, also because you it's not what they expected. Do you ever feel hore you need to hide yourself from society? Do you feel normally you just feel like society needs to get over themselves? This is something that we really are interested in understanding. Let's have an open conversation. Let's conversate and let's educate each other. Yeah.
Yo, Mzansi, that was a wonderful topic. I hope that you learned a thing or two from today's topic. And then going forward, man, let's be kind to one another, and let's embrace our differences, and also learn that teach our kids at home to be kind to people who are living with disabilities. And also, as content creators, I mean, this is the time for us to reflect and to also see what is it that we are willing to do for the sake of content. Are we willing to, degrade other people, make a mockery of other people, or even, just for the sake of content? Are we willing to really, make a mockery of serious issues and serious conditions that people cannot change about themselves? Thank you, Mzansi, for tuning in. Catch us on the next episode, where we will be talking about obesity. It's a new year, 2026. We are all about healthy living goals.
I saw you running.
Yes, this past weekend. It was my second 2026 marathon.
Yeah.
It was great. We were at in Easteres. So we had a lot of fun. It was a hard marathon because it had a lot of hills, but yeah, we did it. I did 10 kilometers.
Oh,
it was fun. Yeah.
No,
it was
that's
fun.
great.
And also during the week, I mean, we've been running 3 kilometers and 5 kilometers and just doing aerobics as well. So yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned, Mzansi. I don't know, maybe TD is running to lose weight. TD is running to stay healthy. TD is running to prevent diseases. We don't know. Maybe you run for different reasons. This you'll see on our next episode.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mzansi.
Bye.
Good conversation, face to face, chat. Our perspective, your perception. We talk to your heart. We educate and inspire.